You guys, hi, good morning. How are you? I'm going to just let people get on, make sure Carolyn's on and everything's good. I am really excited to speak in your group today. My name is Wendy Bankhead. I'm a 4-star diamond coach. I have 57 consecutive months in Success Club, so Success Club All-Star Legend. I've been a coach since 2010. Hi, Carolyn, good morning. I'm glad we are in the same time zone. I'm glad we realized that. I should have just asked you when we were starting to talk about it. But anyhow, so I was just kind of jumping right in. So Wendy Bankhead is my name. And you know what? I cannot see, I just did a training for another team, and I cannot see comments for some reason. I don't know if I need to do something different. Oh, this? Nope. Okay. But anyhow, if there are comments, I'll come back in as soon as I'm done and just go through them if there's anything. But don't not comment because I can't see them. I'd still want to read them after. All right. So Wendy Bankhead, I'm a 4-star diamond. I have 57 consecutive months in Success Club. And I signed up in 2010 as a coach. So I've been a coach for a long time. This month, in fact, is my 7-year anniversary. But I didn't start coaching until 2013. I was like a nightmare coach. I joined with a girl. I found her through Janelle, and I signed up I was like, I want to sign up to be a coach. So I went to her, I signed up. She was like, oh my gosh, like she was a newer coach too. And it was like, really? You're going to do it? Because you guys know how it is. If people come to you and they're like, I want to sign up to be a coach, like what? How's that happen? So I did that. And then for 3 years, I didn't really do anything she told me to do. I would ask her questions and I would think I'm gonna give this a shot, and then I wouldn't do anything she told me to do. I wouldn't implement. So I was like such a nightmare, like you know how they call them assholes? That's what I was. So after about 3 years of that, in 2013, is when I decided to get serious. And I just want to give you a little backstory. So you know I'm not like a fast riser. I'm not like I signed up last year and I'm a 4-star. None of that. Like I am a slow and steady. And that's kind of how I've gotten to where I am. But let me back up. In 2011, I had my first daughter the end of the year. And I stayed at home for a year. I went from working like a very fast-paced, I was a senior account executive for a recruiting company, and I was used to doing a lot of work. I commuted an hour, I worked 10 or 11 hours a day, commuted an hour home, and you know, after going from working that pace to staying at home, it was a culture shock for me. I thought being a stay-at-home mom was like, you're doing your nails, you're going to lunch, it's glam. It was not glam. I was not glam. I had puke on me 24 hours a day. I rolled around in these baggy Ralph Lauren sweatpants, feeling bad about myself. I was heavier than I'd ever been. I was in a bad place mentally, and after a year of that, just kind of scraping by, I would say, I decided to finally listen to a national wake-up call, which of course my coach had told me to do a lot. So if you're not listening to those, please plug into those, because that's what gave me my light bulb moment. That's what it can do for you. And I was listening to a call by Meg Wazinski, and she was talking about setting goals, and everything she was saying, in my mind, I was like, I can do this. So I'm sitting in my daughter's playroom, I'm looking out the window, I'm like, this is not the life I want. I don't want to just get by. And I could be utilizing this vehicle, this coaching opportunity, but I'm not. I'm sitting here wallowing in my own self-pity and eating. And there was that day, it was February of 2013, I decided I'm going for it. I'd never bothered to figure out what Success Club meant. I finally figured it out. It was not hard. In my mind, I was like, math, numbers, no. And that's how ridiculous I am. I still am sometimes. But I figured it out. And I have never missed a month of Success Club since then. I went diamond. So I started in 2013, February of 2013. I went emerald in March. It's a decision. You just have to go emerald. You just get 2 coaches. You tell your husband you're signing him up, and you find one other person, and you can do that quickly. And I was like, it's on. So I'm doing it. And then I hit diamond in diamond in June of 2013. So about 4 months later, and then 1-star in November. I don't know why I said December. Anyway, so from there though, I was stuck. I was like, oh my gosh. So I knew that if I wanted to grow, I had to grow my team. And that's what I want to talk with you about today, is I had been resisting inviting to the business opportunity. I was like, champ, a challenge group invites. Like, it's easy. to do challenge group invites after a little while. Maybe it doesn't seem easy for you right now, but that will become easy, and then the coach opportunity will scare you. It scared me, and I finally figured out that if I wanted to get past 1 star, I was at 1 star for like 2 years. I finally figured it out. I had to grow my team. I had to add more people that wanted to build. And so this is kind of how I look at inviting to the coach opportunity. I look at it as 2-pronged. One is inviting publicly, and one is inviting privately. So by inviting publicly, what I mean is it's your postings, it's what you're putting out on social media, your Instagram, your Facebook, your IG stories, and I hope you're doing some form of live interaction with people, whether it's Facebook Live. I love IG stories. It's my jam right now. I went from Snapchat to IG stories because I needed to cut down on the amount of apps I was getting in and out of. And I really love IG stories. It helps people connect with you much faster. So I highly encourage you to do that. But so publicly is what you're putting out there. So you need to be putting your best foot forward, right? You are your business. You're your storefront. You're your commercial. You're all your marketing material. You're your brand. And you have to be putting your best foot forward. And that doesn't mean you have to look perfect at every moment. That doesn't mean every picture has to be perfectly placed and your makeup all done and da-da-da. But what it does mean is that it has to be clear. You have to look excited. You have to look like you're enjoying what you do. Now, there are postings that you'll do that are maybe a little bit more serious, so a big like grin like this won't fit with what you're posting, right? So you have to like figure that out. But for the most part, you should be exuding energy and joy and how amazing this opportunity is, because this opportunity is amazing. It's a unicorn opportunity, you guys. We get to get ourselves in better shape than we've ever been. I mean, look at Carolyn, dude. Like, she is rocking full tilt. I mean, do you guys ever use that? Have you ever used that term before? That's from like my college days, and I just brought that back. She's rocking. I mean, she is like, she's rocking. And she talks about it freely, like, you know, she's 40 or 41, and she's like, I never thought I'd be in this good shape. Right, girl? Like, I hope this is right. I mean, we talked about this before, because I'm like, you're my idol. Anyway, she looks like she's having a friggin' good time. And so does Ryan. Like, always looks like you guys are having a good time. People want a part of that. They want a piece of that. Like, people are sitting at their desks right now, like, F my life. And you need to be the ones that are showing them that there's bigger and better things out there, and it doesn't involve a desk. You know what I mean. Okay, so you're putting your best foot forward. You're making this look fun. You're overcoming objections publicly. And Bonnie Engel is like the queen, and I've watched her training. So I recommend those trainings if you need some ideas on how to overcome objections in posting. She's always doing that. She's queen of it. It really has helped me up my game. But so, you know, maybe somebody says, you know, that they don't have time to be a coach. Maybe they've told me that personally in a private message or something. So what I would do is create a posting and say, I remember when I was working full-time and and I was a new mom, or whatever the case may be, when I was super busy, I did not think I could fit this in my life. But what I found was, after I decided that I needed to change, I found ways to implement it. It might be 10 minutes of sending messages in the morning or 5 minutes of reading, but I can make this work, and I've made it work, and this is what it's done for me. So you're just overcoming that. You're not saying, I just heard someone say they don't have time for this. Everybody has time for this, right? But you're explaining how it's worked for you. You all have that story. You all have the story to tell. You're all here after saying no, most likely. You probably all said no to Carolyn or whoever your coach was to begin with. And you have to think back as to what made you turn that corner. And you have to kind of give people some perspective into that and do that publicly. Are you sharing the lifestyle of being a coach? That kind of incorporates, I guess, into showing joy and showing excitement about what you're doing. But you're living the lifestyle. Like, I love this lifestyle. I love, like, waking up early and knowing Energize in the fridge and getting that and going downstairs to work out and knowing my challengers are doing that too. I love the whole thing. I love making my shake and drinking my shake. I love wearing workout clothes. I just love the whole lifestyle, the community feel, the kick-ass people you get to be around. Like, that is stuff that you're sharing publicly, that excitement. People need to see that enthusiasm. That's going to attract them in. And you have awesome role models for that. So look no further than Carolyn and Ryan Looning, because seriously, like, I look at their stuff and I'm like, I want on that team. Okay, so that's the public side. The private side of that is the messaging, and that is usually where the big magic happens. So you have to have both. You have to be out there publicly. You can't be afraid to post about being a coach. I was for a long time. I was like, I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to bug people. But then I was like, you know what? Screw that. Like, they're never going to know how cool this is if I don't tell them publicly. And if people don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to follow me. You don't have to like my page. You don't have to be my friend. That's okay. What I'm doing is from the bottom of my heart. It's what I'm passionate about, and I'm going to put it out there. And you get much more feedback that's positive than negative. I'm just telling you, if you're just doing it genuinely and authentically. So let's get back to the private. So the private part is messaging, right? So private messaging, and not saying necessarily right away, okay, let me back up. Absolutely not right away saying you should be a coach. That's not it. You have to build trust behind the scenes. And so then when you do the public stuff, people are like, oh, she's so cool. Like, she hasn't said one thing. She hasn't tried to pressure me into being a coach at all. She just is interested in my life. So you're just sending messages to people to be kind, to build relationships. You know, even if it's 3 or 5 a day, making new connections and being interested in people. That is going to get you so far. You guys, I remember being like, oh my gosh, I'm doing all this messaging and nobody's saying anything. Nobody's talking about fitness at all. But then once they started seeing me being consistent, posting about what I was doing as a coach and how awesome it is, I have people asking now. And it's not like I have 50 people a day asking me about coaching, but I have people coming to me after watching maybe for 3 or 5 months, maybe a year or 2 years. That's why you have to keep going, because there's that lag time in this business. You have to keep building your relationships with new people. But the private messaging is where it's at. You have to build trust with people. They have to know, like, and trust you before they're going to take a leap and join you. One way to message people that I like, I'll give you a couple ways to get more private messages out if this is a sticking point for you, because it is for a lot of people. Like, I don't know what to say in messages. What I like to do and what I like to tell my coaches to do is when you see a post that somebody, say you're watching, say you know that there's a girl who you would love to be on your team. So you check her postings. She posts something, instead of commenting what you would comment publicly, like on the post, send that privately. So maybe it's like they just got back from Disneyland and they posted all these pictures and there's a million comments of people like, oh my God, it looks so fun. Yours is going to get buried in there. How do you separate yourself? You've got to send that privately and say, Jackie, your trip looked like the most fun ever. I would love to take my kids. Do you think your kids' ages, were they 6 and 8? Do you think that's a good age, or would you wait a little bit longer? Just ask a question. You're ending with a question, but you're just telling them, like, privately that you love what they posted, but instead of doing it publicly, you're doing it privately, so it's like building a different level of trust. Another thing is, for people's birthdays, I made this switch about a year ago. Private message them birthday messages instead of just posting on their wall, which is so nice, but everyone does that, right? Who's getting private messages on their birthday? Not many people. So send a happy birthday message to them privately. You would be surprised at how many people are like, thank you so much for sending a private message. It's not a big deal. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it makes a big impact in building that relationship and trust. People feel like you care about them, to take the time to send a private message. And by the way, your messages, they have to be genuine. They have to be your words. They have to be you. They have to be genuine. It can't be coming from someone else. It can't be like you copy and pasted another coach's, because they have to feel you in that message. Otherwise, it just comes off phony. And we don't want to be phony. There's just too much of that out there. Before I send messages, I'm just going to kind of give you a mindset tip here. Before I send messages, I like to remember what it is about this business that's impacted my life. How is my life different now than it was when I started, and what role has coaching played? Coaching has changed every aspect of my life. I mean, my confidence is better. I'm in better shape after having 2 babies via C-section. I'm 38. My husband's in the best shape of his life. Our family eats better. We don't do energy drinks. We don't do Monsters. We don't drink pop, soda. I just think about all these little things, and it's because I decided to become a coach and submerge myself in this lifestyle that all of these changes were made. And so when I'm feeling nervous or apprehensive about sending invitations or private messages, I just take a second and I think about what it's brought to my life. And I just want to share that with other people, and I want it to come from the heart, and I want them to feel like how much it's done for me and that I truly believe it can change their lives too. So that's where you kind of get yourself centered before you send messages. And then, of course, along with the private messages that we've talked about, you do have to invite people. You do have to message people privately and actually invite them. And I know how intimidating that is. I know. I mean, still sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. And you still have to like get yourself mentally over that hump. But I think remembering what this business has brought into your life will help you realize like it's a shame not to share it. It's a disservice to people not to share this. Like we have an obligation, if you think of it that way, we have an obligation to share this business, like to become healthier and like in a meaningful, true way, not by cutting carbs out for the rest of your life, not by drinking 2 shakes a day or whatever. And I mean, we have our health shake, but we're not saying that if you drink this 2 times a day, you're going to lose 50 pounds. I mean, then what, you know what I mean, all the gimmicks, the wraps, all that stuff. You've got to remember that we have something real, a real solution to give to people. And then that should help you kind of overcome the fear. You've got to get over yourself. I've heard a lot of coaches say that. Get over yourself. There's even a book, and I haven't read it yet, but I will. Get over your damn self, because we owe it to people to share it. So you have to send messages. And I'm sure you've been trained on this, but the best way to send those messages to invite people to join your team is to give them a genuine compliment. And I'm just going to give you an example. An easy way to do that is for people who are rocking in your challenge groups. So you see, like I have this girl in mind, Cheryl. She's in all my challenge groups. She kills it. She's so supportive. So I send her messages like monthly because she hasn't joined yet. She will one day. It's been years, and I know she will. But I'm just like, Cheryl, you are so amazing in our group. Thank you. Thank you so much for just being so real, being so vulnerable, sharing like when you fall down, and then helping lift other people up, because she does it for me too. I'm like, you make a difference. Have you ever thought about becoming a coach yourself? And you guys, it's just that genuine compliment, like, because you're not going to ask people you don't want on your team, right? You're just going to ask people who you genuinely believe would be great. So tell them why you think they'd be great. Be specific. Be very specific. And then tell them why you've thought of them. Like, you're amazing, and I just think you could really affect a lot of people's lives with your positive energy and with your supportive manner. Have you ever thought about doing what I do? Very low key. Have you ever considered? Have you ever thought about? And then you guys know when they say, no, I haven't, it's just that they haven't considered. But usually people are so flattered. I get so many messages and people are like, thanks for thinking I could do this. And it's like, of course I think you could do it. Anyone can do it if you have a good heart and you're willing to learn. But you'll get so much good feedback, and people, they'll say no, right? Because most of us said no. I didn't. I went and like tried to find a coach, and I found her. So I didn't have that same experience, but most everyone else said no. And then there was something that you're like, a little spark, because Carolyn planted a seed. And there's a little spark that's like, could I do it? And you start thinking about it, like, maybe I could. Well, I'm watching her. It doesn't look that hard. Before you know it, these people are like, okay, I can do it, right? You've probably had that experience. So you've got to actually put the invites out in order to grow. And I would say, you guys, shoot for 4 to 8 coaches per month. And it's got to be based on your goals. If you want to grow faster, you've got to add more coaches. But I'm telling you, I'm not recruiting 20 coaches a month. Like 4 to 8 is, like 4 is my minimum. And I usually am somewhere around 6 to 8. And some months I'm lower, but that's what I shoot for, because I know that will help me grow. And I really work hard to draw in coaches and tell them about the business opportunity versus just about the discount. I used to hide behind that. I hid behind that for a long time, and then I found myself stuck at 1 star for 2 years. And it's like, I am just adding discount. People who want the discount, I really don't like discount coaches. The term. I'm just adding people that want a discount, and I need to add people like me who need this, who need a challenge again, who want goals. And so that's how I kind of tweaked it, is I did those things. I showed more publicly, and then I messaged more privately. So I hope that this helps you guys. That's all that I have. And like I said, I can't see comments. If there's comments, I'm so sorry. I don't know if with the update, there's not a way to see them when you're speaking, but as soon as I wrap up, I am going to just go into your team page and I'll answer any questions. So thank you, Carolyn, for inviting me to do this training and be in your page. I love the vibe you guys have, and I'm just so excited to like have a spot in your day. I hope it helps. And if you need anything, just message me. I'll help you as much as I can. All right, you guys, have a great day.